Hello everyone, my name is Terence Lee. I'm actually the Chief Procurement Officer here with Geodis Supply Chain Optimization, which is a LLP for PL advisory company in the logistics space. And I'm very honored and it is really my pleasure to be invited to the SSOW Asia 2022. I will be engaging you guys in a think tank session on the 18th of October. And I was thinking that since it's going to be an engagement, there will be a lot more benefits for everyone if you are ready to speak. So it shouldn't be me speaking at the event for that 30 minutes. What I would like to do today is to give you a prelude of some of the information. And if you could just go through them, have a quick listen. I'm sure that there will be a deck that will be shared to you, so you can have a read through it as well. And once we are at the event together, we can kickstart with a much more meaningful think tank kind of engagement and discussion. So without further ado, the topic that I'll be sort of touching on is about the introducing the movement of the incremental kind of transformational change into a disruptive kind of transformational change, so that organization can move from a back office kind of support role into a front office kind of support role through that transformation. So that would be more or less the topic that I want to talk about for today. So in this very quick video sharing, right, I'm going to talk about why would someone want to do a disruptive transformation. Over the last 2 decades of transformational change, I've sort of gained some information, and together with the audience, I believe, in the session itself, if you can contribute, everyone will learn and take back much more about how to conduct such transformation in their organization. Of course, there's also a very interesting purpose of why do you want to move from a back office to front office? What's the benefit and what's the end goal in mind? So I'll share that as well, and together with some of the markers to tell, sort of guide and indicate to you whether your team, your people, your system, your processes are ready to take that jump. And if yes, what would that end goal roughly look like for you? So allow me to just start off. Why do we want a disruptive transformation? It's not because incremental transformation or disruptive change transformation, one is better and the other one is not so good. It's about when to effectively use them. Let me put it in a very simple way. If your organization is very cultural heavy, that means everybody believes that this is the way we do things, this is the way that we should march forward, this is what we believe in, then if you try to do a disruptive change, you are going to have a lot of bumps and hits along the way. Because even if you could implement the change, like the top right-hand corner chart that you see here, right? You can get efficiency, you can get the results, but eventually it will plateau. And it will plateau because it's waiting for your culture and everybody else to come and sort of catch up. And that's not a bad thing. That's also not a good thing. Right? So we got to see when we use that effectively. Likewise, for incremental change, there's always a place. It's tried, it's tested, it works, right? You make a change, the culture and people comes along, you make the next change and it keeps moving, and everybody goes on this journey together. The thing is, it's very long. It takes a lot of patience to get it done. Now, the other bit is about innovation. Innovation doesn't wait for you. So if you have an innovation and you are trying to implement incremental change, you are slowing yourself down unnecessarily. It's like you're driving a McLaren or Ferrari vehicle at the speed of 10 kilometers per hour. You're going to damage the engine somehow, right? But if you really want a disruptive change, but your people are not ready to innovate, you are literally dragging the whole entire army with you. So that's the key essence about when you should use an incremental change mechanism and disruptive change mechanism. So for companies that are ready to reach the next level, okay, if you have been making changes along the way, you're not too far behind, fantastic. You will actually understand a good portion of what I'm going to say. But for those companies that are still lagging behind and you need to play catch up with your competitors, these are the things that you need to see happen in your organization. On the left, you'll see that you need to digitize your data, you need to start leveraging automation platforms, and you need to start rethinking the way you operate. And the most important thing is you have to start thinking about business partnering. And all this doesn't come overnight. Those of us who have played with digitization or digitalization, you'll notice that clean data is one of the most important things. We don't just need data, we need data that means something. Rubbish in, rubbish out. So try not to be too imaginative that you have clean data from day one. Always start off and understand that you are going to face the pain that you're going to have a data cleansing requirement. If you don't have enough budget, if you don't have enough people motivated to do this, it's not going to work as well. You can have the right amount of money set aside from your investors, from your earnings of previous year. But if the people don't know when to do what, they're not motivated to do a certain thing with a certain, to gain a certain skill, you will have this same problem. So again, the next problem that you face is with the people. The people needs to understand, why are you doing this change? Why are you catching up? Now, after the people is done, the process will comes in. And of course, you just look at the thing about systems. There's many companies that say, oh, systems will solve the problem. No, system will not solve the problem. In fact, system may give you more problem. What you need to understand is that the pain you're going to face is you have to know what are the right questions to ask if you want to put the system in place. For example, you hear a lot about AI, artificial intelligence. You hear a lot about machine learning, ML. You hear a lot about IoT, Internet of Things. Companies that have implemented that have all gone through that problem. You implement, if you don't ask the right question, you're not going to get the right response from implementing such a system. So you can put in the IoT, it gives you data, but the data doesn't help you enough to prepare your product to the next level that your customers want. That doesn't serve the purpose. Okay, now the next few things is about bringing everything together. You want, right now, if you are playing catch up, most companies would have reached a stage whereby they're talking about business partnering. They're talking about value creation rather than value adding. Right, so this is basically the pain that you go through. It's no longer about engagement, not one function engaging with another, not about your company engaging with your customer. It's about partnering, and it has to be a collaborative one. If one side gains more than the other side, it can still be collaborative, but it won't last long because at some point someone will feel like he's being cheated, he or she is being cheated, right? But if you try to approach it from a collaborative point of view where there's equal stake, there's equal skin in the game, there's a partnership, that kind of engagement would definitely be the ones that you're looking for, okay? And it will take a lot of time and effort to get there. Working alone versus working in a community. This is an age-old thing, you know. We always hear HR saying that there are individual contributors and as well as people managers. This time around, we are not talking about that anymore. We're talking about the skill sets. If your skill sets is a communal skill sets, okay, whereby everyone can do something about it, that's where you want. If your skill set is very individual, you gain that knowledge, you gain that skill, it stays with you. Guess what? When you lose that person, you lose that capability. So try to have something that's more communal. So for example, the building of low codes or no code kind of automation. You want to build a community around that so that people can contribute to it and excel with it. Try not to have it as an individual gain. So if we can sort of go through that pain, you are on the right path to walk through the three key processes of and making sure that your people are motivated and engaged and willing to walk this journey with you. The processes are ready and you know what to change, what not to change. And then you bring in the system to enhance and augment those changes to make it even better. Once you do that, where you most likely land is you'll see yourself move from a back office into front facing. For example, finance used to be able to validate certain billings. But if we are allowing that, and you can see that in the banks, that, you know, with that kind of ability, the businesses can actually start to work more closely with the banks to move their financial transactions more to a particular bank A versus a bank B, which doesn't support that. So the fact that the back-end finance has now been able to help give insights on their billing has sort of helped the front-facing salespeople in that bank move some of this customer interest to them. So this is the kind of transformation that you're seeing around you. I think among us, there will be many people who in the conference who have that kind of experience, and I do encourage them to share. moving from a GPS, global business service, to a kind of center of excellence kind of approach, you're going to see that quite a lot. Centralization, it will happen. For those of us who know, you will decentralize, centralize, break down into subgroups, and then you start to centralize, and you go through the cycle again. But here, the centralization in the new age that we are in together right now, it's more of a short distance kind of bringing together of knowledge. It's no longer the age old whereby we centralize everybody into one location in India, Philippines, Thailand, Singapore, wherever we want. It's a little bit less of that. And I think technology has helped us reach that kind of status. Leaving behind just functional execution is what I said. People don't talk about value adding anymore. Now they want to talk about value creation with you. And these are some of the skills that or rather areas that you can look for at the bottom: your payroll, P2P, your analytics, your IT. Those are the things that people will start to move away from functional execution more towards, business partnering, customer partnering. And that's more than 50% of what people are saying that they want to see their organization go there. So again, now you've been hearing me say about moving from back end to front end. Why do you want to do it? If you're not sure, this is probably some of the pointers. It doesn't cover everything, but these are some of the pointers that I've observed before. It really improves the motivation in your people, right? They believe that they can value add now, right? They believe that they can value create now. That allows them to have a different degree of passion in what they're doing. There's also a better recognition as a profit contributor. So for example, here in Geodis SEO here in Asia Pacific, we move from a procurement back-end support function in the organization to being able to give procurement advisory service, where customers can come to us, we can give our procurement advice, help them in their journey to enhance and strategize their procurement next stage and next growth path. And from there, we are being recognized as a profit contributor rather than a cost center. And that's really important, because once that happens, you'll notice that the quality of people that you're going to get into your organization changes. Okay, so value creation and value surfacing to help your organization grow attracts a completely different clientele and definitely attracts a different talent pool. Okay, so that gives you a wider career path. And that's the reason why you have a wider talent pool. They can now see better, wider, and further. Of course, the rest, a better incentive. And of course, the people, if you change this, they will have a much better personal market value. You got to be a bit careful, make sure that you motivate the people, you grow them, you enhance them, but find a way to keep them. Now, so knowing why we want to, what kind of transformation we want to go through, incremental or disruptive, and which way is better or not. It's not, it's both good. Just got to find the right way to use it. We understand whether we should move into a front office kind of facing. So what is the end goal like? This is a very, I would say, very simple way of looking at the journey, but yet looks complicated. And let me break it down for everyone. If we look at the left row here, you have your back end to middle office to front office. So let's just consider this as the journey path from Earth to somewhere in the clouds. So this is the cloud stream state. Now you have to understand where your company is, where you are, okay, and where you want to be. Okay, so begin with the end in mind. That's a very effective way of getting yourself there. Now, if you believe that you are much better served with an incremental growth, then please continue. It will help you. You want to go through a disruptive growth, please go ahead. It works. The hacked way here is build in intermediate checkpoints. Allow your culture, your people to catch up with the changes that you're making. And then before you make the next one, otherwise you're just having a lot of people drop off from your team. If you want to mix both of them, it's possible. But my suggestion is that if you want to have such a mixture of journey, disruptive growth versus incremental growth, it's always good to have some consultant or third party with you who is independent and neutral enough to see you through the journey as you change. If they are involved, it's kind of difficult for them to see it. So I'm not promoting consultancy. I'm not promoting anything, but I'm just saying it's easier if you have a neutral party looking at it so that they can see it from a neutral point of view. And when your people are ready, your system will be the next thing that you'll be looking at. It doesn't have to be sequential, it can be concurrent with a slight lag for process against people, sorry. And you can see that, the normal way is kind of process improvement, looking at question, decision, actions, right? Here in the hacked way, especially with all the new software platforms and all the new availability of technology out there, use them wisely. Like I said earlier, if you know how to ask the right questions, you can use the right tools. Here, you can start figuring out a different way. Okay? Your processes don't have to be sequential. You can look at different ways of data integration. You can look at using that data that you've gathered in a more analytical manner before you do your machine learning, or vice versa, how to feed and complement each other. And this kind of query analysis condition kind of approach compared to the previous question, decision, and action kind of approach allows a wider array of opportunity to be defined. Okay, now in the past, if you start transformation like me 20 years ago, the right is a dream. This use of machine learning and all that is a dream. It costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of PhD in computer science. And it's usually done when you have someone very crazy like Steve Jobs. Okay, if you are just any other company, most people will take the left route. The benefit right now is that all these technologies are available to us at a very, very affordable rate. And the knowledge that you need to have to use them is also very much available around us. So I think that's the hacked way. You can gain, you can use that. Just make sure that you use it in the right degree. What does that mean? If you have a process that is defined in that kind of hacked manner, where it's query analysis and condition kind of an approach, you really have to understand what kind of position you have in a system implementation. What does that mean? There are three kind of position. You can be a leader, you can be a follower, or like okay. I know in the drawing that you guys see that there will be 4, but let's just take this 3. And most of the time, the leaders will be spending a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of time, right? And the followers tend to just be that notch behind. There's always at least 1 to 2 intermediate checkpoints to make sure that they are not too far behind. And that helps because they are not spending the same degree of money and effort as the leader. Laggards basically have more checkpoints, spend a lot less, but they are way, 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 way behind the curve in terms of the leader. Does that mean that that's a bad thing? No. A leader, if a company has a very leadership kind of mindset, being a leader in this case is great. If you have a very follower kind of mindset, you don't intend to innovate to be the first in every single market, then to be the first innovator in every single market, then you should take the follower, because the system will become affordable for you. It will be the problems that the leaders will face will be surfaced up for you before you. And if you are laggards are not a bad position. Laggards just means that this company has decided that they don't need the first 2 positions to be successful in the market. Like there are many laggards in the market that are successful. And they are good position because they spend less time, less effort, and they get things done. So now with this picture of how your journey would be like, so what are the markers that you look out for? So I'm going to share very quickly the 3 markers for people, process, and system. For the people, how do you know that your people are ready to go down either route, whether incremental or the disruptive kind of route? Look at the motivation factors. If you have a brain versus heart kind of analysis, if the people, the department, the company, they are all aligned with the direction, your people will be ready because they understand what it takes to get the company to the next level, and what it takes to bring the department to be ready to support the company to the next level, and so on and so forth. So the very first thing is don't be silly. Don't think that you know everything. Really go and meet the people, understand whether there is a true motivation factor match. If yes, you're ready, your people are ready. And understand as well the fundamental needs since you're doing that, right? Have a very clear awareness that of what your needs are, what your wants are. You have to have a beginning point, a starting point to accept that these are needs and these are wants. You cannot mix them around. And once you know which are which and which are necessary for your next stage of transformation, you must have a list and a willingness of taking actions to adjust. So that's something that you need to take note of as well. And for the rest of us who have new, less than 25 years old working with us, and together with the next person who is a grandfather of 2 young baby toddlers, you'll notice that their expectation versus the action will be different. The Gen Zs are very tech savvy, right? The boomers, they believe a job is a job, make sure you do your job well. Does that mean that they cannot mix? No, there's a huge array of studies that from the HR community on how to bring them together and be very successful. So what you need to understand is that the Gen Zs are not, they are ready, your people are ready when the Gen Zs are in the right position, your boomers are in the right position, the people in the different age groups are in the right position to take the actions that they need. If you have a leader that's going to effect IT change, your process change, and the person is a boomer, does that mean that you sack the person? No, you just got to make sure that this person clearly understands where his focus will be. Boomers are really good at strong process. Use them in that sense. They're really good at business sense compared to the Gen Z. Not that they are not good, it just comes with experience, right? So put them in the right place, and you know that your people are ready. Now, once your people are ready, you can see that they will start moving the processes already. Some of them might even jump straight to say, okay, let's go into the system. Try not to. Because the age-old wisdom is that if you don't make sure that your processes are done properly, are ready for the next transformation, putting in systems is just going to be a waste of time and effort. So you know your processes are ready when you have a very clear understanding of what truly matters. Okay, understand your whole entire process. If you haven't mapped it out, get someone to map it out, or you can do it yourself. But you need to understand what's truly important to the company, your customer, and your people. And maybe even the people around your brand. So if you're in FMCG, what does your branding mean to these people who worships your brand? So you must understand what that means. Then from there, you can then draw out your process flows and understand what can be automated and what cannot be. Please don't be foolish enough to think that it's easy. No, because our emotions are in play. So try to take that out of the equation, understand what can be truly automated and established, and what cannot be. And it cannot be an excuse. It's real reason. For example, if you need someone to be creative, if you need someone to be empathetic, as part of this process, you need someone to demonstrate to your customer that they are able to create a solution with them. It's kind of difficult for you to automate that and make machine learning do that for you. Does that mean that it would happen? Probably not. It will probably happen 5-10 years down the road. But at this moment, people still want that human touch. So you understand where you are. Once you have that clarity of what truly matters, what can't be done, have a plan. And your plan and your strategy should cover at least short and mid-term. And if you can, even the long term, because that will really help you decide on the systems that you're getting. If you just have a short and mid-term, get systems that will probably cost you less than $500,000 or even less than $250,000. But if you're really talking about revamping all your system all the way from beginning to end, long term, then you can start looking at spending above $500,000, $1 million, or even more than that. Right? If you have a short-term plan, you want to spend $500,000 or more, even 1.5. I've seen people who succeed, and I've seen a lot more who have failed. And of course, the very last one is about your system. How do you know that your system is correct? It basically talks about your positioning. If you want to be in a leader position, you have got one of the world's most legacy system, it's not going to help you. Right? And if you are laggard and you're paying top-notch dollar to have the latest and brightest and most shiny system available out there, you're having a mismatch. So understand where your leadership position or your what position you want to be. You want to be in a leader position or a follower or a laggard. Once you know that, you measure against your finance. Once they are matched, you know that you are in the right position to execute. Your expectation and your customer's expectation. If your expectation is that you want everything to run like clockwork and you're still happy to key in certain data, whereas customers want you to be more predictive, able to guide them into the next placing of orders for them, then you know that you don't have a match. But if your expectations and your customer expectations are quite close, I don't have to say a perfect match, but if it's quite close, I think you can take the plunge. You got the right markers there already. And for the rest, you can read on your own that if you know that there's a difference, between your positioning, you must truly understand that you accept that. If you don't understand and you don't appreciate that difference in positioning and you don't want to agree to that positioning, you are struggling with yourself. What that means is that your people are ready, your processes have been refined, have been defined, has been well studied into, and you're about to go back to your people and tell them that I don't think we're going to spend the money to buy this new product for AI to help you. Then that's a mismatch. It's like the Chinese have this saying, 只欠东风, right? That means you are lacking one part, and that one part causes your whole entire desire to fail. So if you don't accept it and you don't like that position, please change it. And if you believe that business as usual is a strategy, you can keep it. It may not be the best for you, but it's definitely still a strategy. So with this, I more or less wrap up all the information I want to share. I hope you guys would enjoy the video and enjoy the deck. Do read up on it. When we meet up on the 18th, I hope to have a very good discussion with every one of you. And let's make the best of it. And if any one of you finds that this information is very helpful, and you have not yet signed up, I believe SSON will actually have, or SSOW Asia 2022 will definitely have a link at the end of this video. You can get people to sign up through that channel. So nothing else. I will see you on the 18th of October. Thank you.